Helen Yee here with Eyes on the Game here at Greens and Proteins, being joined by the one and only Mr. Herb Dean. Now, busy weekend for you, but you're here for the Contender Series. Only 2 weeks left. What's been your favorite part about it?
I mean, every one of them. I mean, the Contender Series is great because you come there, you know you're going to see great fights. You know you're going to see somebody new. You know you're going to get introduced to them. You're going to hear their story, and you're going to see them give it all out. You know, these guys really come to try to make the most of the opportunity.
And you are coming from, refereeing the heavyweight championship fight, Stipe Miocic versus Daniel Cormier. What did you think about that result?
Oh man, it was a great fight. I mean, like those guys both summed it up when I heard their after-fight interviews. That hey, neither guy was going to go anywhere, and it was going to be a long night. It was a great fight, back and forth, especially for heavyweights. They fought at a very intense pace for heavyweights, and it was tactically, it was back and forth. It was an exciting fight. I'm sure everybody probably would be happy to watch it again. I mean, it's a great fight.
Were you kind of surprised by the turn of events in that fourth round?
I'm never surprised especially with heavyweights. Yeah. Anything can change any moment. Just one glancing blow with those guys. The room for error at heavyweights is very small.
Now, you've refereed so many great fights, like I said, the Stipe versus DC to Tito Ortiz versus Ken Shamrock. When you kind of reflect on your career, which one kind of stands out the most to you?
You know what? I'm sorry. I hate to be boring, but I'm not really good at picking out standouts. There's so many amazing fights. Every time I think I've seen the most, there's going to be something else, you know. And there's been so many matches with such great energy. Even some of the fights that I did even before I got here to the UFC, or some of the smaller events, they're like some of the fights were like the greatest fights you've never seen, you know. So I just love the sport. And just try to show up and do the best job I can for these guys.
Which you do such a great job. Now, what's kind of that preparation process like when you find out, hey, I'll be refereeing, this person versus this person? How do you kind of prepare, if at all?
Well, I know their tendencies, but I don't try to do a lot of preparation for the actual individual, because each time someone steps in there, they may not be who they were the last time. And they may be better, they may not be as prepared. So I just really go over and try to stay up to date, just try to watch as much video as I can, to try to train as much as I can, and to always just really make sure I'm sharp and review my performances or review other people's to make sure I'm in the position so I can see the most stuff that I can and make good decisions and make good interventions.
But on average, how many fights do you think you referee a month?
I usually referee. If I'm not refereeing on a weekend, it's a rare weekend. So there may be, if there's a month where I have 2 weekends off, that's a big deal. Usually I referee every weekend. If probably maybe 3 weekends a month, or yeah.
Always traveling, right? Staying busy?
Yeah, always traveling, staying busy, yeah.
Now, who inspired you to get into this?
Well, okay, so I watched Big John do it, and then I used to train with Submission Factory, and I just saw him. He was actually at the fights. Larry Landless was the coach, and Larry Landless is a really nice guy. Everybody loves Larry, and Larry was the referee in the Southern California mixed martial arts scene, where everybody used Larry as a referee. And we had a really active scene. There was a lot of small shows and shows on Indian reservations. And so I just followed Larry. And I would go with him to help him be the setup, be an inspector. I would help him with the backstage and just assist him. And one thing led to another, and I started refereeing myself. And so what we did is we just drove all around this area, the Southwest, California, up to Northern California, shows in Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, and just did this as much as I could.
What was the best advice he gave you for refereeing?
I think what I learned most from him is in the beginning, we didn't have the commission, and he did all the things that as a referee, all those officiating responsibilities fell on him. So he went out and he learned what the inspectors did and how to set it up. And so what I learned the most from him is I learned a lot about, because different places my job roles change. Here, I just show up and referee. The commission is very organized. They handle everything. Some other places where I go to, I have other responsibilities. And I learned from Larry a lot about how to do those.
What other responsibilities?
Well, as far as like even the early days, we would do everything like we used to accept the gloves and give the gloves back to the guys, prepare that, make sure we logged in who had what and whatnot. We would do the weigh-ins. We would organize the inspectors, so we're supervising wraps and in charge of. So all the things that the commission would do, those are the things that we used to do.
Now, what advice would you give someone who wants to become an MMA referee?
Go to herbdean.com and herbdean.com and I do a training session. I do it like sometimes once a year, sometimes twice a year. I think I'm going to do one in a couple of months. Probably maybe November, I think. I'm looking at November 2nd. So, I think if you want to do that, it's a good place to start. Come take my course. Hopefully, my advice to someone would be have a love for the sport. If you're not involved in the sport, if you want to be an official, officiate something that you're involved in on some level.
And I do know you told the Schmo because Zuffa Boxing is coming up, but you wouldn't be a boxing referee. But what do you make of Zuffa Boxing?
Oh, I haven't seen any of it. I haven't seen it yet. So.
I mean, what are your thoughts on,
On it? Well, okay. Well, I think they've done a great job with this, with MMA, and there's some things I think that they probably could do differently. That they're going to bring the style, the way they've built the UFC to boxing. And I think that would be something that's interesting. Actually, I think it would definitely be interesting to see what Zuffa does with boxing. I think there's room there that for their style of promoting, and it wouldn't be just another promotion. It would be something totally different that boxing, I don't believe, has seen yet, and organized in a different way. And I'm really looking forward to it.
And lastly, kind of circling back to UFC 241, what did you make of Nate Diaz's return?
Oh man, I've always liked to watch Nate Diaz fight. He's always been an exciting person to me to watch fight. And also, I'm from California as a referee, so I've been refereeing him and his brother since they started, and since they were very young men. And it's really cool to be able to see them at the level that they are today, and to see him starting to rise in prominence. I think he's always had a lot of fans, and I think that he's maybe it's his time where he's developing more. Very excited.
Once again, what would you like to tell all your fans?
Oh man, MMA, best sport on earth. MMA fans, best fans. Our sport is where it's supposed to be.
And follow him, herbdean.com.
Yeah, herbdean.com, Herb Dean MMA. At Herb Dean MMA.